it's almost a week away. Tomorrow, a week away to my collection, 2015. It's a collaboration with Ashling Camps, one of the young designers who has just returned. Ashling is very different, and I think the only designer that does knitwear in Trinidad. I'm very impressed with her work. She's one of the most creative young people at the moment, and besides just being creative, she's so focused, and she really knows where she's going, and she has a great work ethic, because I mentor a lot of these young people, young designers coming out of UTT, coming back from Trinidad, and besides their creativity, I tell them, it's about work ethic and focus on what they're doing. My show is called 2015, and it's like I showed a capsule of it, which was borrowed from the boys. So the collection is influenced by menswear, but cut for women. It's an ode to menswear, so I've taken elements of menswear and made it more feminine and softer. The palette is, of course, my signature black and white with pop colors of chartreuse and metallics. It's very clean, it's minimalistic, as I'm known to do. I'm having fun with this collection, actually. I think I'm doing really what I want to do. Lots of shirts. I love designing shirts, so there are a lot of white shirts. There are a lot of very special details in the work. What else? And then Ashling is working alongside. Her own collection is extremely exciting. So they also always come together. We're presenting this collection as being presented in a completely different way. We're doing a pop-up shop. We also have an exhibition of Rachel Ross's new collection, and also artist Christian Rainwright is showing his work. We're doing it at the new location, Home, which is a very exciting space, a very modern space.
Where's that?
And this is in Scott Street, St Clair. And we are also going to present fashion in a whole new way. There's not going to be a runway, but they're going to be models. So we're keeping it as a bit of a surprise. It's, in a way, it's an experiment. I've never shown my work like this, so it's quite exciting, and at the moment a little bit nerve-wracking as it's going to work, but we know it's going to work. We have great sponsors have come on board: Republic Bank, we have Revlon for the makeup, Vidal Sassoon for the hair, Samsung, First. I'm on First, so people can find me. Vintage Wines. It's going to be like a celebration at this time of the year. It's a party. It's going to be fun. It's going to be young. Actually, it's quite exciting, because I've been doing like pop-up shops for the last year, and this is like the first formal collection. I haven't stopped designing, but this is the first collection that is going to be shown on models. I have a whole new cast of young models as well, new faces. So to me, it's going to be exciting. Anthony Reed is doing my menswear, and Anthony always works very closely like me. So it would be Anthony, Ashling, and myself presenting what we predict is going to be fashion in 2015, or trendy in 2015. It's always been exciting, this part of it. The production is always a bit stressful, but always we make it happen. People come there and they think, oh, it looks so easy, but it's many, many months of meetings and getting it just right.
Oh, you approach it,
I have a producer, and I have a very good crew that works. Cherise Parsons usually works on the set. Doreen O'Connor is usually my producer, and then Catherine Nurse is styling this time, so we need a stylist, a model coordinator, lots of little pieces going to just make it right. And of course, I couldn't do all of this unless I had a staff. My staff manufacture the collection, so I'm always grateful for them, because they get as excited as I am about it, and we put in many, many hours to just make it right. Well, my philosophy is my tagline: less is more. So I've always tend towards being very minimal in what I do. And I remember once showing in South America, in Barranquilla, and I showed a all black collection, and one of the critics who came from New York said to me, he compared me actually to one of Watanabe, who is one of the Japanese designers that I love. And I said, sometimes people don't get it. And he said, people don't understand that being so clean and minimal is hard, because you have to know where to edit and when to stop. So he said, although it may look very simple, it's one of the most difficult things to do. So I felt sort of good about that. I keep pushing the envelope to the work I do, and but have not lost the, what should I say, people always think of me as designing in black and white, which I do, but the work has to be always clean and minimal, and it has to be informed. Like, as I say, this collection is being formed by menswear. It's called Borrowed from the Boys. So it's coming from somewhere. It's not just me making a whole set of dresses or a whole set of trousers or shit. There's always a theme, and sometimes I walk around with this in my head for a long time and then start sketching, and you know, and so it's a whole process. Mailing is, I would love, and this is what I do, mailing is relevant even after being in the industry for 40 years. I think I'm still relevant, and this is really where I want to be forever. Always working in this time and people understanding what I do and being relevant to our time, not being caught in a time warp. And as I say, and I say this over and over and I'm only as good as my last collection, you know, so it's not just being, I mean, I've gotten lots of laurels, lots of awards, but it's nothing. At the end of the day is what you've done today, not what you did yesterday, today. What's the best time? I think every day presents challenges and every day presents highs. I don't think there's any good time or bad time. I think throughout my life I've had challenges, but throughout my life I've had wonderful times. I mean, just being able to come into this space every day, a space which is mine, and no matter what waits me, what stresses await me or whatever, it's mine. I'm passionate and doing what I want to do. I'm so fortunate to really do what I want to do, whether it's a challenge, whether it's a stress, whether it's a wonderful day. So how many people really get the opportunity to do what they really want to do and still have a passion for what they want to do or what they're doing at the moment. I think all creative people go through that, even like designing a new collection. Sometimes you're scared, you don't know, you know, and it looms large and you become overwhelmed. Are you going to finish it, and are you happy with it? And I think you really to be your own critic and not to believe every review. You know, you have to really be true to yourself, be true to your aesthetic, don't sell out, don't compromise. And sometimes that makes it difficult because, I mean, I can see that, and it's a more difficult time. I mean, when I was around, when I started, it was an easier market. Now, there are many more designers on the landscape, which is great, but everybody's shopping online. And that's not a Trini thing, that's a global thing. So you hear, you know that designers all over the world have that challenge of people coming into a brick and mortar shop as opposed to shopping online. And in our case, Trini is not really supporting local, but buying foreign designers. Yes, and I think I have noticed it's a wave, which is great, a wave of young designers coming in. This last happened when the cloth, exactly in the 80s. And then there was a lull, everybody was buying whatever foreign goods came in. But I think because of UTT's fashion design school, and this wave of young designers coming in and followers, and also with social media, you know, there's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, so they can promote themselves, they can promote their work. And I think I can see it, you know, like last weekend there was this fashion market called Wrapped, which was all local. It had to be all local. And I mean, I just passed through to support them, and I mean, there was an amazing amount of people shopping there, and this is good to see. Childhood is almost like what I'm doing right here. Well, not being interviewed, but childhood, I grew up in my mother's sewing room, and I think that is where I got my inspiration. Blessed with a talent, so from a very early age, I knew what I wanted to do. Childhood was exactly sitting in a sewing room surrounded by fabric and buttons and the whirring of machines, and that is what inspired me to become a fashion designer.
You grew up with your both parents?
I grew up with both parents. The thing is that my mother was a creative one. My mother was one of Trinidad's top dressmakers. My father was very academic. He was one of the soils researchers at the Imperial College of Agriculture, which became UB. So he couldn't quite understand me being, or me earning a living by being a fashion designer. Thank God my mother was very creative, and she was the one in my corner probably wanting me to do what she always wanted to do, so I had her to I was my father's only child, so I think eventually he understood. He said, there's one thing though, you have to study in the UK, and I did that. And I think when I came back, he was very proud of what I did, and he ran my business for a long time. You know, he helped me for my business. So I mean, I was very fortunate of having parents who gave me an amazing sense of discipline, which has taken me through and kept me here. I mean, after 40 years, I say half of it, I know I'm talented, but you know, that discipline that I got from my parents to work every day. I mean, I'm in here at 5:30 every morning, whether I party the night before, travel the night before, I'm here. And also attention to what I do to do the best that I can possibly can, the integrity of my work. My mother was always a stickler for perfection, so I had that. My father about discipline and being a good person and working hard. So I say that. I also say attending what we call the Caldo Company, the University of the Caldo Company after Minshall, because I never studied costume but worked and learned so much from Minshall when he did his carnival bands and worked on the prototypes, and still today if he wants something he can call on me. So that was also played a very important part in forming my career. And also wanting to push the envelope in other ways, not just I worked on Pan, the movie, with a group of interns and other young designers. The first movie Pan, the movie Pan, which just showed at the Kim Johnson, I always wanted to work on a movie, and this was the first time. It was a period movie. It was a lot of hard work, but I enjoyed it. So I'm always wanting to do something new, and always curious and reading everything. And this is what I say about being relevant. You have to keep abreast, especially fashion. Every minute fashion is changing. You know, it's so transient. You know.
Carnival doesn't seem like Carnival without petrol.
No, absolutely not. I was a little bit, I don't even, because you know what, more than playing masks, I love making the masks of Minshall. And last year I got a little excited, or actually this year, because we did Jean Miles. We produced Jean Miles at Tony Hall and Minshall. We did it like those 50 in a week. It was crazy, but it was nice to do something like that, something meaningful. The biggest lesson I learned over the years is I would say, to be resilient. I mean, I remember, the days when you think you don't want to go, you're like knocked down, or you're stressed out and you don't want to go any further. It's about just, you know what, I've made a mistake or I've done something wrong, just get up, brush your knees off and go again. I remember one collection, this was in the 70s. My collection was being presented at the Hilton, and I remember getting to the Hilton and looking down. My shop was in the Januras building, and looking down and seeing all the smoke. And while my collection, the same day my collection, in a few hours, my shop was on fire. I mean, not many people know that story, but I presented the collection, and my first instinct was, not my shop, but what's going to happen to my workers? They're here. So I brought the collection here, and we never stopped production, but until I found a shop again. So that was something that a lot of people don't know, and I could have just closed up shop and thought, oh. So it's about really believing that things happen for a reason, and to just go on, keep on going on. If you like what you do, you keep on going on. You don't take shortcuts, and you just really believe and work with integrity. I keep using the word integrity because I see so many people. It's gone. Where is integrity? And what I'm enjoying now is the mentoring that I do. You know, I say that, okay, I want part of my legacy maybe that Meiling changed the Caribbean fashion in some way, but I think it's also, I would love it to be that my studio is always an open door to any creative who needs my advice. So now I do a lot of mentoring of young designers. We have people who fly in from, I have 2 coming in from London in a few weeks' time. We had one girl from Africa. They find me on the web and they come and they intern for a month, 2 months. I do a lot of mentoring here. Young designers want to just come for advice. But what I say to them, you have to do the work. All of them want like instant gratification, you know, they want, I say, listen, for years there was no face to Meiling. Nobody knew. They knew the name, they knew the work. you have to do the work, and a lot of them I see are not doing the work. They want the glory, they want the Facebook, the self, and it's all well and good, that's all part of marketing, but you have to have the work to support and to sustain. I think I'm very fortunate. I mean, I live a very simple life, but again, I think it's been a good life because I've been able to do what I really love to do. I mean, I'm not saying that some days I get a bit overwhelmed, but I think it's a good life seeing that I'm supporting by an amazing support system work-wise, both in my staff and my friends, and also that I can get up every morning and coming to a space that is myself and create.
Any regrets?
No, yeah, I guess none that really. I think that if I lived in this, if I had started in this time, I may have looked out. It might have been easier for me to work in another country for a longer while. But really, no real regrets. I just think I'm blessed. I think if I wasn't doing this, I would have still have been in the world of fashion or beauty or whatever. I would have loved to maybe work on a magazine, be a fashion editor, but it would always be connected to fashion. Oh my God, I didn't think that I'd be named my first award Caribbean Fashion Design of the Year in Jamaica. I mean to go to Jamaica and get that award, my first award, I thought, oh wow, you know, that I could be recognized in the Caribbean. Yes. I just want to just say that I'm happy that there's this new spark, as you mentioned, in the industry, but to also tell all the young designers that I am always willing to help, but they have to really put the work in. You know, it's not about Facebook and the Twitter and the Instagram. It's about doing the work and doing the work well and being ready to grow. So many of them, you know, after their first collection, they become believers or attitude. I mean, there's no space for attitude. Right?
Because it's a long
haul. As Wendy and Moran, we were talking about that Wendy and Moran. But you know, as they always say, Miss Meiling, but you know how many of them, they said, but how many of us would be, after 40 years, we're still here to tell the tale and, you know, to tell the story, and this is what, you know, you can have amazing, it can't be just like a one-show success. It's about learning. You never stop learning, especially in this industry. You know, every day it's changing, and the world is becoming smaller and smaller. So.